All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're going to explore a true giant of Marathi literature, a novel that has gripped readers for more than half a century, Shriman Yogi by Ranjit Desai. This verse, which is often used to describe Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, just sets the perfect tone. It paints this picture of a leader who is basically a mountain of pure will, a rock for his people, a symbol of unwavering strength, the larger-than-life hero that's right at the heart of the story. But that brings us to the big question, right? There are so many stories about Shivaji Maharaj out there. So what is it about this book, written over 50 years ago, that makes it a timeless masterpiece? Let's find out. Okay, so to really get its impact, we first have to understand the sheer scale of what this book represents. It is, and I mean this literally, a literary monument. Just look at these details for a second. It was written by the incredible Ranjit Desai, came out in 1968, and it's a whopping 1,150 pages long. And, of course, it went on to win the prestigious Sahitya Akademi Award. This thing is a heavyweight in every sense of the word. Now, to really appreciate why this was such a big deal, you have to transport yourself back to the 1960s. Believe it or not, there was this huge gap in Marathi literature, a truly deep, well-written, and accessible novel about one of Maharashtra's most important figures. It just didn't exist yet. And so, what Ranjit Desai took on was what you'd call a Shiv Dhanusya. It's a term for a Herculean, almost impossible job, kind of like trying to lift a divine bow from mythology. He decided he was the one who was going to fill that void. And this is where we get to the novel's most powerful, maybe even revolutionary idea, showing the hero not as some flawless god, but as a real, complex human being. For years, the popular image of Shivaji Maharaj was almost godlike, a perfect hero who never lost. But Ranjit Desai did something totally different. He gave us a brilliant leader, for sure, but also a person who was deeply human, someone who had to deal with failure, with tough emotions, and with really complicated relationships. The book just dives into all these different sides of him. He wasn't only a warrior. He was this incredibly sharp politician, a visionary leader, a guy who took big, calculated risks, and a master of guerrilla warfare. And on top of all that, he was a man with a family, friends, and his own inner battles. I love this line. He rose from setbacks like a phoenix bird. It just perfectly captures one of the main themes. The novel doesn't ignore his defeats. In fact, it shows how he used those very moments to come back even stronger, to keep building his dream of Swarajya, or self-rule. But this book isn't just about one man. No, it's like a time machine that takes you right into the heart of an entire historical era. I mean, the sheer scope of the novel is just breathtaking. It covers his entire life. We're there for his birth at Shivneri Fort. We see him pull off incredible things like escaping from Agra. We're there for his coronation, and we follow him on his huge southern campaign, all the way to his final days. It's the whole story. And the amazing thing is, it's not just a list of events. He makes the 17th century feel like it's happening right now. As one review said, Desai literally brought the Shiva era to life with his pen. I couldn't agree more. So how does he do it? It's all about the details, the descriptions of the forts, the way people actually talked using regional dialects, the customs of the court, the messy political reality of the time. It all comes together to build this incredibly rich, believable world. Now, that level of detail and authenticity, it doesn't just appear out of thin air. It was built on a foundation of some truly incredible research and pure dedication. Desai's research process was just exhaustive. This wasn't a guy who just sat in a library. He actually traveled to the historical sites himself, from Agra in the north all the way down to Jinji in the south. He talked with the top historians of his time, and he spent hours poring over original letters and documents to get every detail just right. And his dedication to research brings up a really fascinating question. This book was written in the 1960s, and our understanding of history is always changing. So how are we supposed to read a historical novel that was based on the evidence they had back then? For instance, there's a controversial plot point in the book about a poisoning attempt. Today, many historians question it, but it was likely included because it was based on the specific historical interpretations that were available to Desai back in the 60s. It's a great reminder that historical fiction is always a product of its time. So let's bring it all home. When you put all these pieces together, what is it that really makes this novel an immortal masterpiece? Well, it's the whole package, isn't it? You've got that deep, honest research as the backbone. You've got the immersive world that makes you feel like you're actually there. The writing itself is beautiful and powerful, but really, at its core, it's that it has the courage to go beyond the myth, to explore the real man behind the legend. Shriman Yogi is, without a doubt, a true gem of Marathi literature. And the fantastic news is that its power has been recognized, so there are now Hindi and English translations available, making this masterpiece accessible to pretty much everyone. At the end of the day, the book's impact is probably best summed up by this simple but powerful idea. It's seen as more than just a recommendation. It's considered an essential piece of literature, a book that really belongs in everyone's collection. And that kind of leaves us with a final thought to chew on. When we see the struggles, the setbacks, and the simple humanity of a historical hero, does that diminish their greatness, or does it actually make what they achieved even more incredible? That's the question Shriman Yogi leaves you with.